Aloha, I'm Malu.
I'm Kaleo.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Taylor. We all come from different backgrounds with different greetings, from Hawaii to Mexico, Thailand, and stretching all the way out to Japan. Today, we'll be taking a trip around the world to see just how unique different cultures express their greetings. Let's start by saying aloha to malu in Hawaii.
Aloha kako. In Hawaiian culture and in many Polynesian cultures around the Pacific, it is customary to touch noses together and take a breath in. In Hawaii, we call it hop, and a lot of the other Polynesian cultures have similar names. In Polynesian culture, breathing through your nose is the most sacred form of breath. Breath signifies life, so this interaction represents the sharing of life with one another. Another customary practice when meeting someone new was to keep your hands at your side and not behind your back. If someone's hands were behind their body, it would show that the person was hiding something from the other, thus making this disrespectful and inconsiderate. Finally, unlike other cultures where it's respectful to look another person in the eye when having a conversation, in Hawaii, kawakahiko, or ancient times, if you looked others in the eyes, it meant that you were challenging them. So it is encouraged to steer away from looking in someone's eyes. Mahalo for letting me share about my culture. Now we'll take it to Mexico to learn more about Kaleo's culture.
Buenos dias, todos. Now that we're here in Mexico, I'll share a little bit about the customary greetings we have here in Mexican culture. In contrast to Malu's culture, when it comes to eye contact, Mexican people appreciate and expect direct eye contact, which is accompanied by a firm handshake when you are meeting someone for the first time. It is also common for one to greet friends and family with a hug and a kiss, which shows that as you get to know somebody, greetings can become a lot more intimate. We also have certain ways of addressing people of a higher status, which includes elders, to show more respect. When greeting adults, the title used to address them is Señor, which is Mr. for men, and Señora, which is Miss for women, which is followed by the person's last name. The common verbal greeting is Buenos dias, which is good morning, Buenas tardes, which is good afternoon, or Buenas noches, which is good night or good evening, depending on the time of day. However, the more casual greeting most commonly heard around Mexico is Hola, which is hello, ¿Qué tal?, which is what's up, or ¿Cómo estás?, which is how are you. Inquiring about one's family or personal health is also very much greatly appreciated amongst the Mexican people because it shows signs of warmth and closeness. Greetings can also depend on where you are in Mexico. For example, in some predominantly indigenous towns in the state of Oaxaca, it is less common for one to engage in close physical contact with people outside of their own family. They usually tend to greet outsiders with a loose handshake, but rarely, if ever, embrace or kiss others. That is a wrap for our time here in Mexico. Let's fly with Angela to Thailand. Here's your one-way ticket there.
Greetings from Thailand, or should I say Sawatika. In my Thai culture, just like many other cultures around the world, we bow and we press our palms together in which our fingers touch our nose. In both a formal and informal situation, Thai people greet each other with the word sawati. This is followed by ka for females and cup for males. Depending on who you are greeting, there are different ways of addressing each figure. Someone who is a higher status than you would refer to them as kun, followed by their name. For example, you would refer to your mother figure as kun me and your father as kun pa. In my culture, elderly people in Thailand are considered to be greeted with higher respect. The placement of your hands and bowing significantly pertains to the respect that is given upon who you are greeting. A person should bow their head with their palms pressed together to indicate respect when greeting an elderly person. When an elderly greets you back, they will typically place their hands at chest level and give a little bow with their head, which resembles a nod. Thank you for your time here in Thailand. Now let's take the next flight out to Japan with Taylor.
Konnichiwa, greetings from Japan. It's been quite a long journey here. Like Angela was saying earlier about her Thai culture, a bow is the most common way of greeting people. This is also something people do in my Japanese culture as well. In Japanese culture, the height of the bow and the amount of time that you hold the bow is of significant importance. An informal bow is more of a slight head tilt down, kind of like a casual thing. These are intended for friends, coworkers, acquaintances. A formal bow is used for those of greater respect, like bosses or relatives, which would be either a 30-degree bow to show slightly greater respect, or a 45 to 90-degree bow, showing the deepest level of respect held for a longer period of time. In comparison to Kaleo's Mexican culture, where it's known as polite and respectful to look someone in the eye when they're speaking, in Japanese culture, it's looked down upon to give direct eye contact. It is known as rude in Japan to look someone directly in the eyes. They also greet people by saying konnichiwa, which is like saying hello, but it directly translates to good afternoon. Thanks for stopping by to Japan with me to learn more about my culture's greetings. I hope you had fun.
We hope you had fun virtually traveling all the way from Hawaii to Japan with us and learning about how we greet people from our cultures. Each place has a special way of greeting one another, and it is very interesting to see all the similarities and differences that each culture has.
Ahui ho!
Adios.
Lagon!
Sayonara!